It's another day here in Helldivers 2, and the devs have given us a new patch. New patch! Let's jump into what's new in this awesome new patch and update, and what you can expect out of it. First and foremost in this patch, the devs wanted to give us two new updates to really sink our teeth into. They fixed the Exo 45 Patriot Exo Suit. This is a huge game changer. When we get into the specifics of this fix, the Exo Suit no longer destroys itself when firing a missile while turning, and it also retains its melee functionality, even when damaged. And this melee functionality is massively strong. I'm talking about it can take out a charger in a single stamp if you time it right. So this is not something to be sleeping on. If you're using the Exo Suit and you're not using the melee, give it a shot because it's way better than you're expecting it to be. I've done some pretty extensive testing on the Exo Suit over the course of the day, and I have turned left and right as fast as I possibly can, and I have yet to destroy myself, so I think that this fix is actually working and it's fully functional as of right now. The second major update on this patch is they balanced the improvements for Planetary Hazards and Patrol Spawns. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I was getting crushed by some of these Planetary Hazards, and to be honest, throughout the day, I still kind of have dealt with some issues with them, but a little bit less than I was previously. In the Balancing tab, you can see balanced and adjusted spawn rates for the various Planetary Hazards, including tremors, meteor showers, volcanic activity, fire tornadoes, and ion storms. Hazards should now spawn less frequently during missions. This is a great update just because I was getting killed by meteor showers all the time. Every time I went on a mission on one of these planets and I went with randos or friends, someone in my party was getting crushed by the meteors. To balance this out, they've really dove into the meteor shower to try to fix some of these problems. They've reduced the explosion radius, reduced meteor damage slightly, reduced meteor velocity slightly, meteor color has been changed slightly to try and make it easier to spot. I mean, the last one is kind of like a gimme, but it's also great because so many of these planets are pretty monochromatic, and just having a little bit of a color change in the meteors is a huge game changer. Volcanic activity has also received the following changes, with reduced explosion radius and reduced rock velocity slightly. So they're going to be a little less deadly to you and your party, while still being pretty fun to look at and still being occurring fairly regularly, so you're going to see it when you're on these planets. Finally, the lighting on Fenrir 3 has been adjusted to be a little less bright to improve visibility during meteor showers. This doesn't sound like a big change, but this is a massive quality of life improvement over what we were experiencing before. I can't tell you how many times a meteor snuck up on me just because I couldn't really differentiate it between the environment and what was going on around me. Let's jump into the fixes because I think there's some pretty key fixes here that kind of change a couple of the missions up in a very, very positive way. First and foremost, they reduced the incidence of patrols spawning on players. The reduction in spawn is going to be huge for people. It makes it so that people who are farming samples or doing independent runs can make it way easier on themselves and not have to deal with all of the issues of constantly running away from groups of enemies that just keep on spawning and spawning and spawning and spawning on you. As far as the missions I've gone on today, it seems like these patrol spawns have actually been reduced fairly intensely. I'd say it's been reduced by about 25% overall, which in the grand scheme of things, when you're killing thousands of bugs or mechs on a certain mission, it's a pretty big change. They also fixed a lot of problems with crashes that were occurring. I never had a ton of crash issues. Most of the crashing I had was either at the end of a mission where I already had gained the XP, or trying to get onto a friend's ship or something like that. There hasn't really been a ton of issues going back and forth there for me, but I also play on a PC. I don't know what it's like on a PS5. Basically, the crash fixes are as follow. When alt-tabbing in full screen mode after changing voiceover language, PS5 boot issue. Using a stim inside of an Exo Suit while wielding a grenade sounds like the craziest thing to be doing at one time, but I love it. When joining an ongoing mission, when idling on the title screen. These are pretty simple fixes, it seems, but it's going to make Helldivers 2 just a little bit more fun for everyone to play, especially cross-platform, because I know there have been issues with that recently. Finally, we've got shots from arc-based weapons such as blitzers, shotguns, and Arc 8 arc throwers. Stratagem now count towards shots fired and shots hit stats. This is just another quality of life thing. It gives you a little bit better stats understanding, and it's kind of nice. This is neither here nor there for me, though. Honestly, I use the arc thrower a lot. It doesn't really bother me if the shots fired and shots hit stats, but hey, if you're a stats hunter, this is great for you. They've also fixed the network desync issues with downed automaton dropships, and fixed the Elgato Stream Deck foot pedal support. So if you're using one of those, good for you. Finally, there's a slew of known issues that they're trying to currently fix, from crossplay issues to HellPod steering issues. there's a number of things that are going on in the game that still need to be fixed that they're aware of. And once again, I'm a huge fan of these known issues being shouted at us because it just lets us know that they're actively working on stuff that we are kind of screaming at them, especially when they've been quiet. And they have been quiet this week, so it's nice to just hear from them. Honestly, with every patch, Helldivers 2 gets better and better for me. I am loving this game, so if you want to stay up to date with the latest news and trends, make sure you drop a subscribe and a like on this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!